Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Sleeping Warrior, Righteous Force, Quantum Eraser, Flatzoid, Chocolate Saiyan, Arwin and 10th Man in G+. Very good to have you all.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And we've got a whole bunch of people in Discord as well, so hello to everyone in Discord.
Morning.
What's up?
Good morning.
Right, we've got a slightly more enthusiastic Discord server than we did on the previous show, so we're going to go through housekeeping again. Any signs of Earth curvature?
No. Why don't we ask the ballers this? Let's ask these questions just to the ballers, because to be honest, Nathan, it's a little bit boring when we always give the answer. Let's only ask the ballers these questions.
No Earth curvature from Texas.
Still flat South Africa.
That was completely ignored by your own panel, Anthony, but I totally agree with the sentiment.
I heard you. I ain't saying shit. Let the ballers answer it.
Let's ask the ballers.
Anthony, the problem is we do ask the ballers, they just never answer. So somebody has to answer.
Okay, we've got a very useful and concise way of summarising these answers from ballers, and you've mentioned it twice on the last two consecutive shows, so you just give the channel Q answer for the ballers, okay, Anthony?
Okay.
Any signs of axial rotation?
Yes.
Any qualification beyond a yes for axial rotation evidence?
No.
Any scientific evidence of gravity? This is still open to anybody, by the way.
Yes.
Scientific evidence of what?
Hold on, I heard a yes. Any actual evidence?
Say yes.
Okay, any cowbell for...
No. No.
Right. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Yes.
Excellent.
No.
Any cowbell to back your assertion that there is evidence of the distance?
Triangle.
No.
Triangle.
Trigonometry.
Man, sticks prove everything.
Is that a baller giving that
I've got
answer? If
math.
that's a baller, I want to hear
A whole
it.
lot of math.
Is
We
that a baller?
got triangles, mat, and sticks on the ground.
Ugh. Beyond, let's get to that one next then. Any evidence of the presuppositional R value, Earth radius?
It's not presupposed.
Of course.
It is a sphere.
Well, you know it's a sphere, therefore it's not a presupposition, okay?
Hang on. Why don't you ask Mark Sargent that question?
Which question? What, R value?
Yeah.
Well, he's not on a sphere.
Wouldn't his disc have a radius?
Yeah, in a two dimension.
You say?
Oh, my God, you're good, flatulent unicorn. I avoided pulling Anthony on that earlier. I did try and interrupt, but because I wasn't let into the conversation, I didn't push it. But yeah, so what's this 2D radius that you say we have, Anthony? What's that all about? Tell me more.
There is a 2D radius. If you plot a circle on a flat plane, you can just plot a circle and call it a radius. It's only in 2 dimensions, though. For it to be a sphere, it needs to be in 3 dimensions.
No. I'm not going to let you descend this into farce. Yeah, I can get a compass and draw a circle on my table, which is the equivalent of the bullshit you've just said. What are you talking about? What radius? Let's just use a special word that you haven't used. I'm just going to get you there quickly.
Terrestrial
Hold on. Equator. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh yeah, we can
He's
call the
tracking from
equator the
the
radius
North
if
Pole
you want
to
on
the
a flat
ice wall.
plane.
Are you getting assistance from SX?
That will be a radius.
Even on our own side, they detect when the wolves are near. They can smell the blood.
Yeah, do you live on that circle that you drew on that table? I don't think so.
No, but I can imagine that I live on the circle that I've drawn on the table. That's okay.
That's a reification fallacy.
Yeah, but that's okay. I can imagine that. That's my power. That's my model, and it works.
Everyone's entitled to their belief, but I couldn't care less.
Okay.
What
You
gave you the
crazy people
first
are entitled to
clue
belief.
that
Curve,
the equator?
if anybody's interested.
Hold on. Go ahead, Babs. What was that?
Do you have evidence of Earth curvature? When we observe,
Can you
when we
stop
observe
rumpusing
Polaris
in?
from the North
Hold on a second,
Pole,
Babs. Just can
Yeah,
everyone
okay.
give Babs some clear air, please?
right? When we observe Polaris from the North Pole, every 69 miles we move away from the North Pole. Polaris drops by 1 degree. Therefore,
Have you any evidence
Earth is
for that?
curved.
Oh, really?
Do you have any evidence for that?
Why don't
Any
you show
evidence
us that
there?
now? Show us.
First, I would like to see the picture at 90 degrees of the North Pole star.
We want the sextant. I gave the instructions for this before. We need the sextant. We need the certification certificate. And we need you 90 degrees. I want to see 90 degrees from where you're standing, Polaris. And then I want to see, actually physically see every point. I want 5 points. 5 degrees, 25 degrees, 60, whatever, and one at the equator. Actual. We want to see actual measurements. Thanks.
And whilst
Okay.
you're there, can we?
I'll get that for you.
Thank you, Babs.
Okay.
Look forward to it.
But
We'll be
hold on
here every
a
day.
sec.
Hold on. Go on, Babs. That was quick.
Hold on a sec. Technically, the same thing would happen on a flat plane. The further
No, it
away
wouldn't.
you move away
No, it
from
wouldn't.
Polaris, it is
No, it
going to
wouldn't.
drop.
Hold
It
on,
wouldn't
you're being-
happen.
hold
Why
on
do you
that.
think?
It would
Hold
not
on, hold on.
happen.
You're being challenged, Babs. Go on, Anthony. Get your challenging.
How would it be the same on a flat plane when we have something called perspective, where things that go further into the distance slow down as they get to the horizon, which oddly is what the stars actually do, contrary to the claim that they move by 1 degree every 69 miles.
So what? What's your
For the
point,
same
Anthony?
for the same reason, Anthony, that we observe the sun getting closer to the horizon as it moves away from us. That is the same thing that happens with perspective. When you're observing something in the sky, it appears to move downwards in relationship to your angle of observation.
That's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is that you said, or somebody said, that it does the same on a flat Earth, but it doesn't. On a flat Earth, it moves down towards the horizon at a slower rate because it's getting further away from the observer, assuming that the speed is maintained.
What?
I said that it does happen on a flat Earth, but just not in the same way. It
doesn't
still
happen
would
on the
happen.
same. No, it doesn't happen on a flat plane. It slows down as it gets to the horizon, which oddly is what it does in real world.
I want to know where the South Pole is.
What? The sun doesn't slow down as it approaches the horizon.
No, the stars. I'm on about the stars.
Stars?
Yeah.
Do they? Oh, yeah, they a little, right? A little celestial. or
Quite a lot, actually. You'd be surprised. Go to Mick West. He'll show you.
Okay.
Yeah, Midwest.
Anthony, where's the South Pole?
Define South Pole.
Where is it on the globe?
Define South Pole, please.
He still hasn't proved the cheese in the moon.
Where is the South Pole, please? Can we have a definition?
It's to the south.
Don't forget there's
It's
a pole
at the
sticking out.
opposite end of the North Pole. Yeah, because we don't have monopoles.
No, we've got a quadrupole. Quadrupole we've got.
Give him a chance to Google it.
You walk away from Polaris.
Sorry, just so this conversation can continue between Anthony and Highlander, which South Pole are you referring to?
As far as I'm aware, there is only one South.
Well, I'm right no matter what. You walk away from Polaris.
But I'm a bit confused. you say there's only one South Pole, so surely the magnetic field that's depicted in the child's school books that shows it going and wrapping around to the bottom, surely there's a magnetic point at the bottom as well. Surely there's a magnetic South Pole, right?
Yeah, there's a magnetic North Pole and a magnetic South Pole.
So
How do you know that?
So when I said which South Pole and you said there's only one, now you're telling me you're aware of two. Are you sure there's two? Maybe there's more.
How do you know that there's two?
He
I don't get what you're saying.
He just acknowledged the magnetic South Pole.
But hold on a second, but where's the second South Pole?
Yeah, where are you getting multiple South Poles from?
No, what I asked was...
Hang on, you were the one that made the assertion.
Yeah, I know. I led him that way. And now he's pushing
I get it, bro. I get it. Like, front and back.
Poles are magnetic things, though, that you're detecting with magnets.
I led him so well. He accused,
it's not that. Everything's got a front and back, right? If you're gonna lick that shit, you gotta lick that shit from the front to the back.
What are you talking about?
And therefore, you gotta have
swearing.
a front pole and you gotta have a back pole.
Stop swearing. Whoever you are, you're now not involved in this conversation.
I'm sorry, my bad.
Fair enough. He apologised just before I put him on mute. No more swearing, please.
I'm sorry, dude.
That's okay.
I totally forgot.
So my assertion, Highlander, was that given that we have multiple North Poles, surely we'd have multiple South Poles, right? It's just identical at the bottom, isn't it? That was my question. That was how I asked the question.
I've never heard. I'm sorry. I've never heard of multiple North Pole.
Really?
Well,
Well, I personally have never heard of more than one North Pole.
This is kind of getting into a bit of a crazy conversation.
But,
hold on. Whoever's talking over me, can you stop? Whoever's doing that, good boy. You're not involved in this conversation again, you stupid dick. Yeah, you don't apologise for swearing and then immediately start rumpusing the shit out of me. Who the So, sorry about that, Highlander. My assertion is in regards to the multiple poles that are asserted at the north. You've already detailed two. Yeah? Physical North Pole and the magnetic North Pole. There's also another one that involves celestial observations. That's three. You're going to tell me after this that you're not aware of the multiple designations of north? Silence. This happens often.
Well, as far as I'm aware, right, there is a magnetic north and a true north. Yeah? Right? When you're talking about the poles, you're talking about the magnetic poles. North Pole and the South Pole. That's it. If you're standing at the magnetic North Pole, Polaris should be directly up above, 90 degrees.
Wrong.
That's not true north. That's celestial north.
That's incorrect. It's not 90 degrees above magnetic north. You are incorrect.
I called Dunning-Kruger on Highlander.
Very productive. Not correct.
So, are we having a definition for South Pole or not?
Yeah, away.
The South Pole is opposite end to the north.
Okay, so and then we need a definition for North Pole. What's the definition for North Pole?
Point where presupposedly the Polaris star is exactly straight above you.
Alwyn, we know you know the answer. We want to hear it from the guy asking the question.
Okay, fine.
What's the definition for the North Pole so that we can answer your question?
There you go.
I never heard anything. Say it again.
That's a little bit circular, don't you? I think it's a bit circular.
You never said anything, right?
He says the opposite of the South Pole.
I didn't hear anything.
He's playing games.
You guys always shut up when you're supposed to talk.
My main question is, if the North Pole is bang in the middle of your circular disc, where is the South Pole?
Oh, so you're asking on our model where the South Pole is?
Yes.
So then we need a definition for North Pole on our model then. What's the North Pole? Is it in the geographic center? Is that what you're asking?
And what model?
In our model.
We don't have a model yet.
Well, I'm just assuming that the North Pole would be bang in the middle.
Right. Of our model, right? Nobody's presented a model, right? So this is your assumption for what you think's our model. Yeah?
And what happens when you assume?
Make an ass out of you and you.
You and I.
So
Well, this is why I'm asking this question, so I can learn. Yeah, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to learn what you believe is real in the world. So
you make
if the North Pole was not in the middle of a circular disc, then where is it?
You make a claim.
This is it,
clown. You're not trying to find out what you believe. Who are you? We don't believe shit. You made the claim. They've asked you 10 times in the past 5 minutes to define South Pole, and you herked and jerked around. Answer the damn question. Hello, essay.
Hey,
Is this the same guy
answer
from
the
yesterday?
question,
Right,
essay.
just the one that didn't understand relative density.
Wait, say that again.
I said, do you think it's the same guy from yesterday on Discord that didn't understand relative density?
This
I'm
is
not
another
sure.
perfect reason why we can't have bloody flat earthers pushing that goddamn model. Because we have retard globe earthers thinking that we, as flat earthers, have goddamn models. You see? It's just, stop pushing that shit, man.
Yeah, well, some people think that they do have a model. Okay, they're incorrect. They don't really understand what the issue
Oh, gotta
is.
pounce all
They're
over
not-
that shit.
They're not taking it in the fun.
Hold on. What's that, Arwin? Some people have got a model, but it's incorrect. Is that what you just said?
Well, technically, yeah. It's not real proof. They don't have. There's still uncertainty factors everywhere, and that's the people that really do know the disk model in this case.
What
They
about
know. They're
what about
honest
the-
about it.
Hold on. What about the rectangular looping model that you ascribe yourself to?
Mm-hmm. Oops. Right. Well, it's the same thing, and I'm very clear about it on every step of the way. But it is a model.
But you did say some people have a model, but they're wrong. I think that's the bit that Nathan's dwelling on.
Well, I was
You
referring
imply
not
that one is
specifically to the
painful.
people that do know all the details about it, but rather the large swath of people that just stick to it.
Now that is
Yeah,
a
but-
good question, because although you made it as a statement, is there people that actually know what it all is and how it's all laid out?
I'm talking about what has basically been modeled, conceptualized, worked out, calculated so far.
All
it's
wrong. All wrong. You were right in your first assertion.
Yeah, but Arwin.
The answer
Okay,
is no,
Arwin,
Nathan.
when you say one model is incorrect, you're sort of implying that there is one that is correct, right?
Well, there's one that is correct. We just don't know it, Chocolate.
No, that's my question that's
Correct
on the
for
table.
what? For what
Hold on,
purpose?
that was my question.
predict
Whoever
something or
SX
to
was
make
it?
a claim?
My question is there entities, people, whatever out there that know precisely what it all is and rubbing their hands together
answer-
going, ha ha ha, we know what it all looks like?
Maybe.
The answer is
We
no,
don't
Nathan.
know.
No.
Could be.
So you have a correct reification fallacy.
Yeah.
Well,
There's
phrased.
no people. There's no people that can know the right model, but there's a right model and exists. Right.
So there's a
Dude,
right.
Hold on. You didn't hear what you said.
You're obsessed with models.
Hold on.
To make
Hold
the model
on.
in the first place.
Ah,
How can you consider
I
models
want the
you
important
know?
point to get said again. They didn't hear him on Discord. Can you just repeat that concise summary? I think it was 3 words. Go on, QE.
Yeah. Yes. So they have a right reification fallacy.
That was towards USX.
It's to me.
Yeah, I asked, has somebody somewhere got a correct model? Although I didn't say it in those words. I'm like, is there a guy rubbing his hands together going, ha ha, we've got it all modelled correctly, right? And you're saying, yeah, somewhere somebody has got the right model, they're just not
No.
telling us about it. And the rebuttal
I
is,
s-
somebody's
I say
got...
my answer is no.
Good answer.
Sorry, I'm back.
How would people be able to navigate the Earth if they didn't have correct maps of Earth?
Am I allowed to repeat what I said
Hold
exactly,
on.
Nathan?
No,
Can I
hold on.
repeat it?
That's a good question. Say that again, Babs, just in case nobody heard.
How do people navigate Earth if they don't have correct maps or models of Earth?
We do. They're all flat.
The
We
maps
do
are
have
all
models.
projections, okay? They're
The
all
maps.
projections based on the surface of this world, however it's laid out, in relation to the celestial positions as they are observed in those different
you're
regions.
thinking
That's
maps
how
are
the
part
map
of-
works. It's a projection.
So you're thinking,
And
so
how
you're,
accurate
Don't
is a
live
map?
on the map.
Just one at a time.
How accurate is a
so
map?
you're
It should be
equating
one of the
maps
first
and
things you
models.
learn in geography.
Look, if you
How
hear somebody
accurate is a
talking,
map?
don't start talking. That's one way to bring silence to the conversation, eh?
No, everyone shuts up.
Just saying,
So
don't.
you're saying that
Go ahead.
maps are models, and therefore models are legitimate. Is that the flavor we're going for here?
Yeah, but how accurate is a map?
I think he's asking Babs.
That's not my question.
Saying,
Do
are you
you
regarding?
do people listen to the actual questions, or do they just conjure the question in their mind and answer that?
It wasn't him you were asking. It's Babs who's trying to respond now.
I was just asking how do people navigate if we don't have models, but I kind of got models and maps misconstrued. So we do have maps, we just don't have models.
Navigate where?
True.
What are you talking about when you say navigate?
Talking about if I want to go from here to South America, I'm going to need a map to do that that's accurate and based on what Earth really looks like.
They used to do it by stars, though. That's how they used to guide themselves, people.
Yeah,
That
really?
wasn't based on a spherical model.
How many crashed? How many of those ships never arrived at their destination? How many are at the bottom of the Pacific and the Atlantic?
Quite a few.
Right?
Quite a few.
Well, let's get somebody, a professional navigator, on here, and let's hear their story. I want to hear it.
Yeah, but then you're making the assumption.
Be careful, you'll get some baller on telling you they're using GPS now.
Go on, Highlander.
No, hold on. When they ask this question, we gotta think to the place where there was no technology, right? Because if you're talking about now, present day, we have so many things that we can use to travel.
Okay.
Look, if you let's take different people and you go and map out destinations, I can guarantee you can it will both work to everybody, even if you make your own type of map. It's doesn't model.
So what's the flavor here? Is we have maps, we can navigate. Therefore, the heliocentric ball-tard spinning space monkey religion is true. Is that the flavor? Is that what you're going for here?
That's what they want to push, but it's got nothing to do.
Right. What a fantastic attention to detail argument. I'm just overwhelmed. Freaking clowns.
Okay, so any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Nope. Absolutely not.
Yeah, in the movie The Core, they show it.
Yeah, I wouldn't accept Star Trek as evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container, either. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container?
I was just about to say Star Trek, but you messed it.
Oh, I took that away.
Gravity.
Sorry. Gravity? What's that?
Gravity is your answer, Nathan.
What is it? What's that?
I don't know. I mean, weight, mass is inserted all over the place. So
the bending of a conceptual medium. The bending of a conceptual medium. That's what gravity is at the moment. That's what the idiots believe.
Yeah, that's not going to give you gas pressure without a container.
And can the bending of a concept cause a force?
Even if it could, it wouldn't be giving you gas pressure without a container. So this is definitely not an address to that question.
Right.
Can you have a vacuum?
Is that medium an imaginary thing?
Yes, the
Can you
medium
have a
of
vacuum
space-time.
without
Yeah.
a container? Oh my
Sorry,
God.
do you want to repeat your question, QE?
No,
Yeah.
no, John. No, you can't.
Yes. Somebody please show us a vacuum without a container.
Oh, you need a container to have a vacuum also.
That's easy, John. You just put a big ass chunk of gravity in there, and that will do it.
Oh, that was unexpected.
Gases and containers go together like peas and carrots. Put it that way.
You can have peas without carrots. Sorry. But you can't have gas pressure without a container. It's a necessary antecedent-consequent relationship.
Just like you can't live without air.
Yep. Who'd have thought it, eh? The very air we breathe debunks the notion of space. Great, huh? That's the end of housekeeping. Only took 25 minutes.
Isn't it cool?
We talked about this on the last show. I don't know if you were up to listen to it, QE. Anthony was explaining that if you put the question, how can you have gas pressure without a container, to school children, it would leave them pondering. They didn't go any further than saying it would make them ponder. And I was like, no, it destroys their religion. It's the beginning and end of the heliocentric religion, that question.
Yes, sir. It's beautiful. And school children would be able to answer the
That's it.
question.
You don't need no more than that.
No, you don't. You're right. If anybody comes to this debate and takes away one thing, that should be the only thing that's necessary. You can't have gas pressure without a container. We have gas pressure. The necessary antecedent is something to press upon. They assert that the sky is a vacuum, a vast space for the gas to fill.
Well, that's why they have dark matter, I think, now.
Dark matter?
That kind of
That has
stuff,
nothing to
Nathan.
do with the argument. That has nothing to do with the argument.
Oh.
Just stick with that argument. It's over. It's been over
okay.
since.
I thought he had to do something with it.
All right. Just overtalk me, no problem. It's been going on for 3.5 years. Just go ahead. Keep talking.
I'm on mute. Yeah, dark matter's just addressing a mathematical problem with their reified universe. So it's nothing to do with gas pressure without a container.
Yeah, don't bring that dark matter shit up. Doesn't belong here.
Yeah, what are you doing? Talking about dark matter.
I feel that. The hell is that crap?
Try dark matter.
Bloody hell. What's next? Black holes?
Yeah, I mean.
Well, Nathan,
Oh,
didn't you
God.
see the picture of the dark hole that they took?
The nah hole.
No, it wasn't a picture. It wasn't a picture. It was an image. Know the difference.
Yeah, just a rendering.
Sorry, not a photograph. Not a photograph. It was an image.
Well, let's go back to the antecedent of the gas pressure because we're going away.
Yes, even if in the future someone shows up and claims a theory that the numbers add up and somehow maintains that this is a new property of dark matter that holds gas on Earth, they will still be unable to demonstrate it in the real world, right?
It's not a theory then.
Yeah, it's not
Is
not
it
a scientific.
theory?
Hold on, let me just clarify that. So you started off by saying if they do the calculations, well, yeah, you can have mathematical theories, but that's not really in the realms of natural science and figuring out the world that you live in, which is pretty much what we're interested in. So you're saying, well, there's no proof of it. Well, no, because the assertion in that theory, the mathematical theory, is not based in real world, it's based in mathematics. If it was based in real world, it would be in the realm of physics. And it wouldn't be trying to establish it through maths, it would be trying to establish it through cause and effect.
Agreed.
But yeah, Huey's right. It's not a scientific theory. That's the bottom line. That's the rebuttal, rather.
Has anybody of you ever got a drive for a Glover to actually completely define what a hypothesis is?
That's a running gag with John when he goes into the comments with Bislin, right, Huey?
It's not only with him. I asked that question. I've been asking that question for about 12 years. Evolution, nutbags, PhDs in supposed science disciplines can't answer that simple question. They can't give me a hypothesis. I just ask them regarding anything. I just open up the whole gamut to them.
Just for the audience, just for the audience's benefit, in summary, the question being, give me a scientific hypothesis for anything.
Can't do it. I have yet to have one person do it.
It's a shoe. Okay.
What's your hypothesis?
It's a shoe.
I like that made it onto Globe Earth Dictate.
I think that's the wrong shoe, Chocolate. You're has to be a different one.
Yeah, I think you're confusing it with Phenomena.
Phenomena is a shoe. Hypothesis, it's a shoe.
That's it. That's the one. That's Nobel Prize winning stuff right there.
Yep.
The
And
person said flat is a shape. Flat is a shape.
But that was actually useful.
Doesn't that show?
That was good by Brenda.
Huh?
You know, but yeah, okay, you can put the negative spin on it for Brenda for humorous reasons, but in actuality, that conversation changed the intro to the show. The shape of the Earth is not what I asked for anymore. The nature of Earth. You know, flat is an aspect. It's not a shape.
That's true. Yeah.
So that conversation with
shout out to Brenda.
Yeah, shout out to Brenda. That conversation changed the intro to the show. It now is express your views on the nature of Earth.
Shout out retracted. It wasn't with Brenda. That conversation was with FaZe. That wasn't with Brenda.
Oh, was it?
It was a different conversation.
It was with FaZe. Okay.
So, no. Brenda did come in. FaZe was there, but Brenda came in and she backed him on it. She ended up. I think it was you, Chocolate, that was actually questioning her. And she ended up saying, no, flat is a shape. And then we all started laughing.
In that same conversation? It was in that same conversation.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty of who said what, the relevance is, by having the question in regards to debate about the heliocentric Copernican teachings, whatever you want to call it, that it automatically leads into a road of presupposition when it comes to the sphere. If you're arguing about a shape, they've got a shape. When people say, I don't like saying I'm a flat earther, it's a realm. Well, I never really got that until that moment. It's like, well, yeah, it's not a shape. It's an aspect, a geometrical aspect. You can't call it a shape. We live on a flat plane. That's not a shape. But we're arguing about the shape of the Earth? That's absurd.
Well, that goes to show that good things can come from retards.
Yeah. Exactly. I shouted her out. He got retracted, but, that's how it goes.
Back to the hypothesis issue. It's not only baltards. A lot of flat earthers can't do it either. That's a big problem.
That's very true.
Yeah, we're going to keep going on about, there's still flat earthers pushing pseudoscience, so we got to keep calling them out.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, about hypotheses, experiments, and a lot of other topics on Ballbusters on Saturday at 2 p.m. on the Quantum Eraser channel. Be here, be sphere.
That can be another ask question.
Let me plug it properly. So that's 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. UK time on the Quantum Eraser channel.
Is it going to be live?
Yeah, it'll be live, yeah. Yeah, live on the Quantum Eraser channel. Be Here or Be Sphere, 2 p.m. Central Standard, 8 p.m. UK, Saturday. If you're watching on Nathan Oakley channel, then that's in 2 days' time. If you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980, it's tomorrow. Be Here or Be Sphere, Saturday, 2 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. UK. Ballbusters, live.
Yep, that's the only other show that's as good as this one, so watch it.
And Tuesday, the interview, right?
Yeah, Robert Bassano, Tuesday, October 8th at 2 p.m. live, Quantum Eraser channel. Robert Bassano and I get back together again, a little reunion. It'll be a hoot.
I'm really looking forward to that.
You guys going to Joe's bar afterwards?
A little inside joke there.
Do you mind telling us who is this guy, John, a little bit? I have no idea.
Robert Bassano, YouTuber Planete Veritas. Go ahead, QE. Give him a build-up.
Well, Robert is the second person that I ran into when I first stumbled into the Flat Earth. Mark Sargent's Flat Earth Clues was the first one. And Robert Bassano was the second, like I said, video that I witnessed. And he kind of struck me. I knew he was military, so I liked him right off the bat. But he was talking about topics, being straightforward with people. I liked that attitude. And it wasn't too long after that when he did an interview with a member of the Sohu team. And that, as they say, is history. I was, it was a joke of an interview. He gave Robert a big hanging watermelon-sized curveball, but Robert had he had a lot of questions to ask him and just let it pass by. And even the Sohu guy brought up that there was problems with the second law of thermodynamics, and I was sitting there in the chair, and I said, yeah, I've been waiting for this. Get him, Robert. And then he went off to another question, and I was like, I started throwing stuff. So I contacted Robert, and I gave him the lowdown, and he said, well, time for you to come on the show. That's history.
Right, so your connection was through the second law of thermodynamics, but not necessarily in regards to the gas filling the available volume, but in regards to the sun and its violation when it increases temperature as you get further away from it.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. Cool backstory.
Now, Robert's famous for his interviews for calling people, mainly people at NASA, right? The head of the Hubble team. That was frigging hilarious how that ended. And I'll be running that on my channel here in a couple weeks.
Is that the guy that called for the NASA and then he showed to be an airplane or something like that?
Yeah, that's the guy. So he showed basically Hubble is Sophia. That's Robert Bassano. Yes, that's the guy.
Oh, nice. All right.
And ironically, towards the end, because I think NASA got wind of what was going on, we wouldn't be broadcasting. We'd just be calling people offline, and the people answering the phones at various NASA institutions would say, "Are you recording this?" So that's when we knew it was the beginning of the end. And in fact, we called the Sohu guy back. Well, Robert did. And I was on the call, but Robert didn't tell him I was on the call. And I was being real quiet, and I was listening to this guy talk about science and just destroying what science was. And I was sitting here, I can remember being so pissed off. And he said one thing about a theory, and I said, that's it. I said, you got to be frigging kidding me. And the guy said, whoa, who are you? Right? And he goes, oh, that's the end of the call. And Robert never let me live that one down. But it was to the end anyway around that point. Like I said, the memos were going out. People were asking him, are you recording this? So they were on to Robert, and it was going to the end. But Robert blamed me for that. So it's an ongoing joke. It's pretty cool.
Because if they ask and you say no, they can sue you, right? Or
No, well, I don't know
That
about the
why you
rules in the
cannot-
States. Certainly not the case in the UK. Did you want to add something, Mr. Super Guy, or are you just leaving your mic open to feedback a bit?
I think he just has his mic open. There's another Robert called Robert Basiago, and it's easy to get those two mixed up. The Robert Basiago is a guy that talks about jump rooms to Mars and like space teleportation. And I think the Robert that you guys are talking about is the guy that's with Planet Veritas.
Yeah, Planet
Is that the same
Veritas.
guy?
Yeah, it might be confusing two guys. Hey, Adam, how you doing?
I know who you're talking about, Babs. You're talking about Andrew Bishago.
It's not shouting at me chocolate straight away.
What's up, Adam?
That's what he does, Adam.
It's unbelievable. You only got here, he's straight over talking me. All right, Chop.
Oh, man.
On mute.
How can somebody confuse Robert Pisano with anyone else? I don't get that.
I think it's just the
I
last
have a similar last name.
Bishago. The jump room to Mars guy. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Babs. Yeah.
I used to like him when I was still a Glober, and I had to let all of that go.
Well, if they got a jump room to Mars, someone should let Elon Musk know about that.
Adam.
They should, right?
Here it comes.
Adam, you still there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, could I just do a quick mic test?
Hello,
Yeah,
Mr. Super
don't
Guy.
worry about it. Just interrupt. No problem. Go ahead.
We hear you, yes.
What did he who interrupted?
It was Mr. Super Guy. I moved him to the after show on account of the fact he's left his mic open. And anyway, go ahead. Tell him to get stuffed.
You ruined the whole thing with your. Oh.
Yeah, you ruined my surprise. I didn't know that was going to happen, Nathan.
I did.
Well, I caught up with you at last, Nathan. What did we have? A quick hug outside the library. I didn't see you, mate, in Amsterdam. That was it.
I disappeared immediately after the conference.
Did you?
Yeah, I had to run away from. I felt really rude because Dave was chatting to me. Allegedly, Dave. Is that you causing feedback, Adam? I think it is. And I was just saying, yeah, I've got to go to the airport. I've got to leave right now. And he's like, was it good? And I wanted to tell him. I thought his content was excellent, and basically kiss his ass a bit because I really enjoyed his presentation. I didn't get time to. I was like, missed the elevator. In other words, he was obviously aware I was conscious to disappear. And it was the same for everyone. I didn't even get to shake Karen's hand, which I was gutted about because I enjoyed her presentation more than any others. I thought it was excellent. And I wanted to say that to her. I just didn't get a chance, but there we go.
I enjoyed the speeches. I a little late joining in the morning. So my too much revelry in the evening, but even Arwen got up before me. It was so, but yeah, it was good, mate. I enjoyed it. It was a real great bunch of people, and not just the main speakers, but all the non-YouTubing flat earthers, shall we say? You know what I mean? That were turning up. Real great bunch of people, and just want to say thanks to them all for making such a special weekend for us. It was great.
Yeah, conferences are great. I met a guy that was, he introduced himself to me. I can't remember his name. I'm really sorry if you're listening to this chap. And he said, you put an appeal out for a video that went missing. So for some unknown reason, I didn't, what I considered at the time to be incredibly important interview with Zachary Zabala, who you know well, about perspective. This is when we were just edging into that subject. And the interview went missing. And he says, that was me that had the interview. You put an appeal out, I published it, gave you the link. I was like, that was you. I could have kissed the guy. I was like, God, I was so upset when I lost that video. Thank you so much. And it's just like, at the time, I was like, it just seemed really weird that someone would come through with precisely what I needed to just republish that interview. I mean, it's one of the interviews in the info box, which tells you, how important I considered that interview. But he was just nice to shake a guy's hand and go, yeah, it was me that had downloaded it and gave it back to you. I was like, oh, thank God. So it's just nice to meet the people who are actually watching, and in that case, it had a direct participation in the formation of the show. Like, you know, it's nice to actually glad hand with these people, the people that are watching, as opposed to the YouTubers, like you're saying.
Yeah, that was cool. It was nice to meet the YouTubers. Shared a room with Arwen. That was a good giggle. He's not a bad room. He farts a lot, but other than that, it was an
That's
all right
just
roomie.
people in general. I'm sure he'd say the same about you.
I'm just trying to make the blame.
That we're not going to get any more watchers because it's just subscribers that watch this show. And because of the censorship, you're not going to be able to get more new people watching your show.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, we addressed that a few months back when we were saying about sharing links more with channels, because you're absolutely right, it's internal only. But that's why I say at the beginning of every show, please share the show. It makes the audience more diverse, and unfortunately that had to be added on account of the fact that, no, if you search Flat Earth, you're not going to find Flat Earth debate. There was a time when you typed Flat Earth, and if I was live, I'd be the top of that list, rather than ABC, BBC, CBS, which is what you get now. So that does, just like you say, you don't grow from that. So that's why it's so important that people actually hit the share button and stick it on Facebook.
Did you say you spoke to allegedly Dave, Nathan?
I've spoken to Dave loads of times. The new people that I met, I've never met Jaron before, but I had lunch with Jaron. That was very nice.
Okay, so now with Dave, is he another reification fallacy pusher?
I watched his presentation. I wouldn't have said so.
No. I shared Dave was my roomie for the first night. Yeah, I think he tends to shy away from presenting any particular model. Again, the whole of the Globe Light tour really is with that in mind. It's, when Rox was getting interviewed, the first thing they were always trying to do is nail a model, nail you to some kind of model that they can then take apart. And I think Dave's the same. He's wise enough and old enough to know that that's just nonsense and it's what they're after.
The only person that focused really intently on a model was... Sorry, Babs, I was going to say the only person who really focused on a model was Dr. Zach, but he was being critical of it. He was pointing out where it did not work in terms of its angular relations with the CERN and all those sorts of things. But he had a very specific set out model that he was critiquing on both the globe and flat Earth side. That was another excellent. All of the presentations were excellent. It'd be really difficult to pick one. The only reason I say Karen, just in case anyone was like, "You bastard, I thought mine was the best." They all were, but Karen had information that I hadn't heard before, whereas a lot of the information I'm a big fan of, allegedly Dave, Jaron. So obviously I'm going to have seen a lot of the information before. Same goes for Zach. Although Zach managed to get information in there that I hadn't heard from him before. So there was a lot from everybody. It's just, like I say, I don't want to seem biased against anybody. Dave's was excellent too. But I think Adam's right. These people are old enough and wise enough in this subject to know how the straw men get held up and set on fire. So, models are one of those straw men.
I think you're trying to remain diplomatic here, Nathan. Or perhaps you misunderstood where I was going with that. I wasn't really referring to the conference as such, more so... do you know, because I'm pretty sure that he does push a model. So that's kind of what I was referring to. I don't know if you had spoken to him about a model. That's what I sort of was getting at. Perhaps, if I were in your shoes and I had the ability to meet these guys that push these models, I would sit with them face to face and explain to them, if they don't know what a reification fallacy is, explain to them why it is, and ask them why they still believe in it. I would love to do that, but that's what I was sort of getting at.
And I'm very conscious of that, and that is in the forefront of my mind when I speak to anybody in regards to this subject, i.e. the YouTubers, the people who, the influencers in this subject. But, I don't want to seem like I'm there to educate them and condescend to them. By the same token, I think Adam's right. These people aren't switched off to the subject. They're looking at it. They are watching the show occasionally. Now, I've said this before, not because we're big-headed, but we are on the cutting edge of these subjects, and they are permeating throughout the community. I've seen it, and that is what I rejoice in, rather than making it my goal to constantly correct people in terms of their reification of flat Earth models. Yeah, it grinds my gears, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I do want to address it every time I talk to them. But on the other hand, I also want to shake their hand, tell them they've done a good job, and encourage them. You know, the same goes for Bob Nodell.
I think
That's
in
fair enough.
reference to
I
Dave,
understand you're stuck in between a rock and a hard place, and you really have to remain diplomatic. And I totally understand that. So
I think it's different.
I suppose I just have a different personality.
No, you're right. Unicorn,
I'd
you're spot
expand
on.
it, Nathan, a bit. Dave, I think I know what you're talking about. Dave does expand outside of science because he's an Israelite as he sees it, and the religious component to this viewpoint to him is, unlike me, something exceptionally important to it. So yeah, he may wander off into some descriptions, but I think if you're going to quote Dave on descriptions, there would probably be stuff that's supportive of the argument that he's pulling from scripture, that would be descriptive in terms of quoting him with regards to describing a model. I think if you've got any quotes on that, it would be him stating scripture, as I kind of remember talking to Dave. At no point would he ascribing to a particular model, but I would think he ascribes to descriptions in scripture because he holds them dear.
Yeah, well, that very well may be true, Adam. But all you have to do is go to his YouTube channel and look at his videos, and almost every single one of his videos has the little graphic of the disc somewhere, on his video. So that leads me to believe that he wants people to see, when they see his videos, he wants people to see that and to have that in their mind. So what I'm getting at here is that. And what grinds my gears is, stop pushing this pseudoscience, because you don't need it as a tool. You don't need, because people are because this has led me to question these people. Question people like Eric Dubay and all these your Mark Sargents, because in essence, I feel as though they have lied to me. There is that question whether or not they're ignorant or. But if you have Mark Sargent asking questions like asking people, can you have gas pressure without a container? That leads me to believe that the guy knows what he's talking about. He's a no-nonsense guy. He's a scientific-minded guy. So if he is a scientific-minded guy, why, when it comes to a model, does he allow that to become part of his, of his whatever it is that he does? But that's just, my thoughts on that.
It seems like the point you're not getting is that we're not his audience. Again, like they have
to. Alex Jones,
probably that way.
You can criticize Alex Jones now, as we sit here having grew up with Alex Jones and him awakening us, and he woke a lot of people up in certain areas, and people are now critical of him and calling him a shill, etc. But he served a purpose at waking people up and getting you to a level. I think if you then progress past that level, you're wasting your energies worrying too much about critiquing them. Let them be and let them wake up. That message, that reification may be the thing that shakes somebody out of the ball, So, as you say, Mark Sargent's the greatest example. He's not talking to us guys, and for us guys to sit here with all the research and that and criticize him, and I'll speak from personal experience, if you actually do speak to these guys, they're perfectly aware of what you're critiquing them for. But I'm not sure was it you, Chocolate, that said that they're not talking to us, and to hold that standard against them when they're trying to break through the media, the mass population, I think it's a little harsh, because they're not sat in a room just chatting with us, trying to sell us a model. They're trying to
I understand, Adam. I
we
completely
all,
understand. What I'm getting at here, and I'm noticing from you guys, is that I'm not going to get through to you guys, talking to you guys through Discord, because you're all trying to remain diplomatic. And like I said before, I completely understand it, because I'm not even hearing QE chime in here. And he's the sort of guy that will absolutely maul anyone who brings shit to the table, who brings shit to the name of science. So I understand that I'm not going to get through to you guys here, so that's fine. We're going to leave it at that, because you guys have your YouTube hats on, and that's the way that's what's happening right here. That's fine.
No, don't,
because
don't,
you
don't,
guys
no,
will
that's
own any
correct.
globe earther that comes in here and pushes shit. You guys are on him like shit on like flies on shit. So
look at
you
it
know,
this way.
Look. I'm not saying that. I'm not. Look, he's got good work, yes, and I'm not saying that I disrespect him and that I disrespect his work at all. No, I'm not saying that. But if he knows what he's pushing now is pseudoscience, and he's doing it willingly, and even if it's a tool, you don't use lies on a tool for me. That's not a way to teach. Like I've got a small child, and I'm not going to teach him that. If he brings home a globe, I'm going to say to him, "Do you live on this? If you think you live on this globe, I expect you to go to bed on that globe. I expect you to eat your dinner on that globe. You know, he's not going to be able to do that, is he? And then that's for me. That's a perfect example of how you cannot, you can't teach people with lies. Simple as that. Teach them the truth from the start.
They break people out of their spells, right? And then those people join conversations like this one to get Polish, like to where they're wrong, to they have a better understanding. But that's how you get to this point. You cannot jump from being a baller to this point right here. It takes baby steps.
No.
There's
I
people
completely
for
disagree.
everything.
I disagree with that. Why?
That's all right. Because not everybody thinks like us. Not everybody thinks like you and me and people.
But you don't think like me. Sorry, mate. You don't think like me because you this is what you're saying. You're saying that it's okay. It doesn't take a lie for me to jump. Don't lie. Tell me the truth.
Yeah,
that's what pissed me off now.
Because I understand though. Because I understand that I'm not his audience.
Yes, but his audience are the people that are being lied to, and then they're going to go back and question him and question Flat Earth as a whole.
That doesn't matter. No
he
exceptions.
Flat Earth.
That's the way we treat the Globers. I absolutely agree.
Heartbreaking it is for me to admit it, I also agree. So this is going to be an exceptionally good after show if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream. Unfortunately, if you're watching this live on Nathan Oakley, this is going to be where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in live. Of course, and a massive thank you also to everybody who joined us in the live panel and on Discord for making this live show possible. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. As I say, stay tuned if you are watching on Nathan Oakley 1980. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!